#1.
Miss any part of the show? Every moment of every show is available in podcast form by searching Hans and Scotty on your favorite podcasting platform or online at KSLSports.com. This is Hans Olsen and Scotty G on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hans and Scotty, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone, 24 hours away from the NFL Draft. Joining us from CBS Sports, Josh Edwards, breaking down the draft. Josh, how you doing?
Hey, Josh.
Yeah, doing pretty well. It's crazy to think that it is just a little more than 24 hours away at this point. It's getting very real, and we can finally put some of these rumors to bed.
Well, we appreciate you taking time in your very busy point of your season, I'm sure, Josh. So thanks for giving us a few minutes. But right out of the gates, is it just obvious the number one pick, Cam Ward, no doubt about it?
I think it is. I think the Tennessee Titans have done everything to kind of build that situation around him this offseason. They went out, they signed Kevin Zeitler to be that physical presence at guard, signing Dan Moore, the free agent from Pittsburgh, to be that left tackle, which allows them to move J.C. Latham back to the right side. So in theory, the offensive line should be much improved. And now they just need to go out and find a few more weapons for him. You know, wide receiver, tight end, get a couple of guys there that he can throw the ball to and allow him to find success as a rookie.
How do you have any idea how good the day could be for Shedeur Sanders or how bad the day could be tomorrow for Shedeur Sanders?
Yeah, I think it's all about perspective. You know, I think he is someone that can make the most of any situation. I am starting to believe that he's going to be disappointed with the range that he is ultimately drafted, simply because he's a confident player that feels, you know, he should be among the first selected in the 2025 NFL Draft. And for me personally, he's about the top 20 prospect, I believe. But by the same token, that does not carry a first-round grade to me in this particular draft class, because we have a handful of blue-chip players, those all-pro type talents at the top. But beyond that, I think it's more of a draft where you can kind of come away with solid starters at various positions for your team. And I kind of think that Sanders is among that group. So if Pittsburgh does not take him at number 21 overall, which kind of seems like maybe the ceiling for him at this point, then it gets a little bit interesting about, you know, just how these teams view him. And if anybody's willing to move back up into the first round to get the fifth-year option on Sanders.
We saw some rookie quarterbacks hit. Scotty and I were just talking about the Denver Broncos and their pick and how great Bo Nix was, and many others. It was a great draft. Will we see that type of participation from this year's draft class with these quarterbacks?
Yeah, it's interesting, and that's part of the conversation too, is as much as we project how much we know about these quarterbacks coming into the draft, the reality is so much is dependent upon the situation, the supporting cast, just the overall level of support that a rookie quarterback has. So with Bo Nix, he landed in a great situation there, of course, with Sean Payton, who believes in investing in the offensive line. They had gotten some good pieces there in recent years. They had a couple of good pass catchers and obviously invested more in that unit even after he was picked. So I think if you get the quarterback in a situation where there are other talented players around them, you're talking about a situation where a Shedeur Sanders or a Jackson Dart or a Jalen Milroe or Tyler Shuck, whoever that next tier of quarterback ends up being, can find some level of success in their first year as a professional. Otherwise, you know, we've seen the other side of the coin far too often where the supporting cast is not good. David Carr in Houston, Tim Couch in Cleveland. Neither of those guys had an offensive line, and it doomed their careers before it even got started. So situation, supporting cast is going to be, incredibly important, just projecting these guys to the next level. And we're not going to know that until they get drafted.
All right, so I'm asking you to speculate a little bit here. Not taking their rookie years out of the equation. So nothing about how Bo Nix is going to do in Denver or how anybody else is going to perform. Just open up the DeLorean. You and Cam Ward go back to last year. Where does Cam Ward fit in the hierarchy of quarterbacks in last year's draft?
Yeah, and I'm the first person to, provide accountability because I'm critical of my own picks. So I will tell you that he would be, I think, the fifth quarterback in last year's class for me. And that's behind the top three, of course, which were Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Drake May, and then for me, it was J.J. McCarthy. So he would have been that fifth quarterback in last year's group ahead of Bo Nix and Michael Penix. Again, I was wrong on Bo Nix. The supporting cast, of course, helped his ultimate professional results as a rookie, but admittedly, I was wrong there. But I think Cam Ward, just the ceiling that he brings to the table is going to be a little bit higher than what we had seen last year from Penix or Nix.
Well, obviously, Scotty and I, we cover this market and have for a lot of years. Josh, Scotty's the play-by-play voice for the Utah State Aggies. I'm the color analyst for the BYU Cougars, so we know the talent here in the state. And
yeah,
we've kind of pinned Jalen Royals as probably the first off the board out of the state of Utah. Are there any other talent from the state that really spark interest for you?
Last time I came on the show, I talked about Tyler Batty, the defensive end. I was higher on him initially earlier in the process. He's an incredibly powerful player. I came to find that he was a little bit stiffer than I had originally calculated. I still think he's going to be a draftable player. I still think he can be an asset for a team. So that would be one that immediately comes to mind. But like you said, I think Jalen Royals kind of clears that bar as far as first drafted pretty comfortably. I think he's an incredibly talented receiver, someone that's obviously been productive when available throughout his career. So in my eyes, it would not surprise me at all if he were a top 75 selection in this draft class, and somebody that can make an impact for a team in the right situation, depending upon if they've already got a guy that can kind of draw some of those double teams. So I think Jalen Royals is probably the first off the board, but also has a chance to be really productive.
So you're essentially putting a second round, maybe even third round grade on Jalen?
Yeah, he's among that next group of wide receivers that I think it just depends on which team is selecting the position, because there's a variety of different skill sets. You look at TCU's Jack Betch, who is somebody that creates separation underneath through route running, quickness, but he's not necessarily the fastest prospect. Trey Harris is maybe somebody that projects as more of a traditional X if he can just find some consistency. You've got bigger bodies like Jaden Higgins from Iowa State, Alec Manor from Stanford, Jalen Noel from Iowa State is somebody that's incredibly shifty after the catch, can make plays for you in space. So it's just kind of a flavor of ice cream type of discussion. What are you looking for? Are you feeling adventurous, or you want to play it safe down the middle? It's kind of that conversation with this wide receiver group, but he's going to be among that group. And if he's taken towards the top, now we're talking about top 50 overall. So it's definitely possible that he gets into the second round.
This is a critical draft for the Las Vegas Raiders, and this is the only first-round pick they've had for the last 45 years and probably for the next 45 years to come. I'm just kidding.
We're making fun of our producer, who's a big Raiders fan.
But that number 6 pick is really important for them, and I want to get your thoughts. Do they roll the dice and go with a running back, or what specifically do you think the Raiders are looking for in this draft?
Well, I think it's even more important when you consider just the state of the organization. I mean, they went out and traded for a 30-something-year-old quarterback in Geno Smith, who I think certainly raises the floor and the ceiling of what that offense can do this year. But they have a variety of needs. I mean, they need pass catcher help outside of Brock Bowers and Jacoby Myers. They could find another wide receiver. The running back depth chart is pretty barren. You could add another offensive lineman or two. The defense could use some work. So that number 6 overall pick is not going to fix everything for them. But I think just everything that they've done this offseason has placed a little bit of pressure on their own shoulders. And to me, they're going to go out and they're going to try to find a difference maker at the position. So if Boise State running back Ashton Jeanty is there, then I think he's probably a safe bet for that pick, just because Pete Carroll has always valued the run game. We talk about Russell Wilson and letting him cook. Well, that was a byproduct of Carroll wanting to lean into his run game. So he does not have the running back at this particular point in time that can allow him to run the ball the way that he would want to. So I think Jeanty is a prime candidate there. And for the same reason, I could see them taking an offensive lineman. Just upgrade that unit so you feel comfortable. Run the ball downhill and allow Geno Smith to kind of make some of those plays outside of the pocket and just matriculate the ball down the field.
All right. Oh, nice reference there. So when you look at the running back position. And obviously, the shelf life of running backs in the NFL is so short, and they churn and burn through these guys like crazy. That being said, it takes somebody really special to, to be worth a first-round pick because of all that. Is Ashton Jeanty, if you're the GM of Jacksonville or the Raiders that need a running back, are you willing to roll the dice on Ashton Jeanty that early in the draft, or would you wait and pick up some value in later rounds and get somebody who, might be more of a long-term fit for your team?
Yeah. And I think it will vary team by team because some will not value the position highly enough to consider one in the top 5 overall. But because you asked me personally, I would take him there because I think that he's one of the 5 best players in this draft class, and he can do a lot for your offense. Obviously so much of that is going to be dependent upon the offensive line that you've already constructed. But I think Jeanty is somebody that is very well-rounded. He can stand in and pass protect. He's a good pass catcher. He's a dynamic runner, kind of everything that you want from the position. Incredibly thick lower body build allows him to run through those arm tackles. So, I would be comfortable taking him in the top 5 overall because I see him in the same level of talent that we've seen from a Bijan Robinson or a Jahmyr Gibbs, even though they're slightly different skill sets. I think that's the type of talent you're talking about here with Jeanty.
How excited is Green Bay, Wisconsin to be hosting this thing?
Yeah, I hope they are excited. That's a city that takes a lot of pride in obviously what they do there. It's a very proud organization, one with tremendous history, and just being able to experience the energy of being in person at the NFL draft. There's few things like it in this sport because you have fan bases from all 32 teams. Mm-hmm. On a given Sunday during the NFL season, you have fan bases of 2 teams, and it obviously skews very heavily towards one in particular. So the NFL draft, I think, is unlike any other event that the NFL hosts. And, for anybody out there that hasn't been able to attend one, if it's within your means and you have the opportunity to do so at some point, it is a fun event to experience.
Josh Edwards, kind enough to join us, CBS Sports, right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. When you look at position groups and you look at what's ultimately strong in this draft, what really jumps out to you as the group or 2 groups that could really that are really deep in this draft?
So first I'll say running back. And again, it kind of touches back to that conversation we had with Jeanty about positional value, because if you feel like you can get a starter on day 2, whereas maybe you're not as comfortable with the depth at offensive tackle or interior offensive line or wide receiver or whatever it may be, that's a strategy that a lot of teams will employ because they know they can get a quality running back on day 2. So running back would be first on the top of my mind with players like Quinshon Judkins, Travion Henderson from Ohio State, Dylan Sampson from Tennessee, and Marion Hampton from North Carolina. There's a chance that we set a record with the number of running backs that are taken in the first 2 days of the draft this year because it's that crop of a group. That's a possibility. I would say defensive tackle is the other that immediately comes to mind. There's questions among essentially every one of the top guys this year, and that includes Mason Graham from Michigan. But at the same time, I think you can find potentially 20 starters among the first 2 days of this draft class. And for a position that we have not seen that level of depth over the past handful of years, this is an opportunity for teams to build the trenches a little bit and maybe even double dip at the position and find a couple of guys that can make an impact for you. So running back, defensive tackle, I think those are 2 positions that are strong in this year's class.
Is it just Kansas City's game to win again in 25?
They're going to be there. That's one thing that we can kind of count on is that as long as Patrick Mahomes is taking those snaps under center, it's going to be a situation where they're in the mix. So there's been years we've tried to count them out early in the season through losing streaks and things of that nature. But, I have to imagine that they'll be right back in the conversation this year. But Philadelphia is going to be retooling too. They've still got a strong core there. Buffalo, of course, you can never count out Josh Allen with the level of talent that he has around him now. Cincinnati, is this going to be a bounce-back year? They've invested so much in those wide receivers. It better start paying dividends because those checks are coming due. So Yeah, those teams are all going to make it for a very interesting 2025 season.
Are you anticipating fireworks in terms of teams trading up or trading down? It seems like there's more teams trying to trade down than trade up, but then again, you never know if the smoke screens are just that or if there's actually truth to that rumors.
I think it's going to depend on the general managers, because there's an argument that it's not going to cost as much to move up in this draft class. But by the same account, these general managers are incredibly proud. They're stubborn. They're not going to want to trade down for less than market value. And in this year's draft class, I just don't see that much of a discrepancy between the number 10 player and the number 25 player, or the number 25 player and the number 50 player. So how much is that worth to a team that's looking to move up? I think that's going to be a smaller market to do so. I think there's going to be less demand to make a trade up the board this year. But at the same time, if you're a team that wants more bites at the apple, so maybe you don't necessarily get, a premium pick on day 2, but you get a couple of picks on day 3 just to be able to add a couple of more players to your roster. I think that may be more of the conversation this year. So it's going to be interesting. I think a lot of people are expecting fireworks, but I'm still hesitant to believe that that's ultimately how it's going to play out.
Last thing for me, how do you use Travis Hunter?
Coming into the year, I would have told you cornerback. I would have said that's his best position. That's where I would play him. And then the more that I watched him over the course of the season, the more that I heard from people, I think he's wired differently in a way that he can be successful at both positions. It's just a matter of if it's even possible to do that full time. I think the most likely scenario is that he's going to be used primarily as a wide receiver, and then maybe he finds, some situational usage on defense, whether that's third down or specific matchups, whatever it ends up being. But I think you're talking about a player that is just incredibly smooth with the ball in his hands. He's a fluid route runner, not refined, but fluid. Somebody who's just got fluid movement. There's few players that are as good when the ball is in the air as Travis Hunter is. He's just a really natural playmaker. And I think the way that he approaches the game, the way that he trains, I think that player is going to be successful regardless of which side of the ball he falls on.
Well, we appreciate your time. Thanks for hanging out with us. Enjoy the draft tomorrow, and looking forward to catching up with you again here soon. Sounds good. Thanks, guys. You got it. Great stuff. Josh Edwards, CBS Sports, right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. He's all in on Ashton Jeanty. Loves the guy. We shall see. I would not take him in the first round. But that's not a knock on Jeanty. That's not a knock on his ability. If I'm using a first round, it's this guy that I want a good 8 or 9 years out of. And I just don't see you're going to get that out of
such a tough call.
Back.
What if he's generational?
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, look, I'm more than happy to, when we're doing the show, when we're doing the show 10 years from now, and Ashton Jeanty's been to 8 Pro Bowls and is storming towards the NFL, record in yards, and Emmitt Smith's, like Wayne Gretzky at every one of his games, waiting for him to break his record. I'll be like, you know what? I screwed up on that one. More than happy to admit that.
It's not happening. We've talked about how players are bigger, faster, they hit harder.
When Ashton Jeanty leads the Raiders to 3 consecutive Super Bowls.
Go ahead.
So here's the deal.
I will admit I was wrong.
If he's there, I want the Raiders to go with Ashton Jeanty.
You are such a troll.
What?
Are you being serious right now?
I'm being dead
I can't
serious.
tell.
No,
I can't tell if you're being like a fake fan.
As a true Raiders fan, Hans.
I want Ashton Jeanty.
All right. There
absolutely. At the very least, you got to have something to watch. Even if you watch him nosedive. Like, Geno Smith is not bringing me to the yard. I need something.
Yeah.
And Ashton Jeanty, at the very minimum, at least he's...
Yeah, as a fan of the Raiders, you need something so you can enjoy your Sunday.
How many Sundays did you watch?
You're the one that's not watching them anymore.
Yeah,
I'm watching them.
No, you're like, I didn't even watch it.
You turned off the TV.
I got to have access. I have to have access.
Okay.
They're never on TV. I can blame DJ for that.
Okay, so let's say they
There's
draft...
multiple ways you can watch those games.
Let's say they draft Will Campbell. Is that really going to bring you to the TV? Oh, let's go see how good of an offensive tackle the Raiders got. The number. No, if it's Ashton Jeanty, it's like, all right, maybe it's the Bo Nix that'll Take us to the promised land.
You're a Broncos fan.
By the way, I'm looking.
Be honest.
I'm looking at this mock draft here. The Raiders, they have them selecting Armand Membo, offensive tackle from Missouri. That gets you fired up. Let's go, Raider Nation.
No, if Ashton Genty's there, take him.
I don't know if he slides past 5. I think Jacksonville will take him at 5 if he's there.
I think McMillan is probably the 5. I think that Jackson. How do you? I might be off, but.
Oh, the Arizona running back or wide receiver?
Wide receiver, yeah.
Yeah, that's the guy that I was hoping would fall, but he's not falling to 20, that's for sure.
Nope.
All right, Hans and Scotty, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. All right, I got to ask, and I know we've told these stories before, but Nate, where were you on draft day? You were, was it a golf course?
I was golfing, yeah.
That's
I was
right.
with the family at the Salt Lake Country Club. We were golfing, just family, had,
So you
immediate family there.
weren't there watching TV pick by pick?
No. Even on the first day, my agent said projections were late first round, second round, and so I didn't get my hopes too high. Even then, I was still with family on that first day watching from home. But yeah, that second day we knew something was going to shake out, and so decided to get let my mind be free. So we went out and golfed, and easily the worst round of golf we had ever played. Balls were flying everywhere. I think we hit a few people as well, but Grandpa was getting a little weary too. So we were like, you know what, let's go inside. And so everybody went inside, and we watched it from the country club, the men's grill.
When you got the phone call, were you thinking Cleveland?
I had no idea. And Cleveland wasn't even in my mind whatsoever. Like, even starting when I was at the U, my senior year, if you guys ever been in where the locker room is, they have the helmets that line up on the sides in the little hallway there. And you have every single NFL team. And not once did my mind ever gravitate towards that orange helmet in the bottom left-hand corner. It was like
the white and black stripe.
yeah. And so, I'm sitting there. I got my phone in front of me, sitting at the table, kind of in the back. Everybody's eating, celebrating, excited for what's about to happen. And my mom walks up to me with her phone and said, "Hey, here's a call for you." I'm like, "Who's calling my mom to speak to me on draft day? What is going on?" And I put the phone up to my ear, and he said, "Hey, Nate, this is Ray Farmer with the Cleveland Browns."
He called your mom, huh?
Called my mom. I was like, "First off, how'd you get my mom's number?" Let's talk about it.
You've got my number. I wrote my number down.
So, yeah, it was a surreal moment. I put the phone down and shouted, Cleveland and whatnot. But yeah, it was.
How did you like Cleveland?
I enjoyed it. Even though looking back, it was probably one of the most difficult times in my career as far as being an athlete and playing for a team. Because we only won 4 games in 3 years, right?
Wow.
And somebody threw out the number out there. It's like, how does it feel to go 3-60 or whatever it was? I'm like, hold on, I didn't lose that many games. And ended up doing the math. I was like, yeah, that's a lot of games we lost. But no, it just does something to you. It's just a character building. Unfortunate, right, that the way things have turned out there, from having 3 different general managers, 3 different DCs, how many head coaches.
That's why if I'm Travis Hunter, I'm like, nah, because he's number 2,
right?
And it's Cleveland's pick.
Yeah.
And if I'm Travis Hunter, I'm like, gosh, I don't know, man. But
at the same time, I didn't know any better, right? I'm just excited to be in the NFL, and I want to make a difference. I want to be that guy to make a difference on my team, and that's what I strive for every single day, is being the best teammate I can be, being the best out in the community, and just trying to help. And you can only do so much, and obviously there's a lot of moving pieces to the NFL. But for me, just being in Cleveland in those 3.5 years was amazing. But from there, the reality of the NFL set in, going to Buffalo, then Miami, then Seattle. And wish these guys best of luck, but all you want is an opportunity at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And some of these guys will get it whether they get their name called or if they get a tryout opportunity. Regardless, an opportunity is all you want.
If you were a betting man and on that start of day 2, who would you have bet you were going to go to? Like, who gave you the most attention going into draft day?
Who gave me the most attention was Pittsburgh.
Oh, okay.
I think you would
Coach
have Tomlin.
I think you would have been a great
flew
fit
out to Pittsburgh, met with them and the staff, the DC, kicked it off with my position coach. He called me days leading up to the draft, and they just kept planting that seed. And they do this, right?
Yeah.
It happens. But and they kept saying, we're going to take you in the first round. We're going to take you in the first round. And when they took Bud Dupree, right, my heart sang. I'm like, dang, because Pittsburgh, my father-in-law has served a mission there. There was a lot of Pittsburgh ties, so I was like, okay, that would be sweet. But regardless, for them to get my hopes up like that, and it was like, whatever. And then to get a call from Cleveland was definitely unexpected.
Interesting. So when you played Cleveland or Pittsburgh in that division, you probably were like,
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Give them the business.
Gonna get you.
Advanced Windows, you take that same commitment that you had playing football. And by the way, Mac just said that you got in trouble with Kyle because you would go from practice to installing Windows. And Kyle's like, hey, you can't be doing that. You got to be studying or doing all that other stuff.
Coach Mac just throwing my business out there, huh?
Yeah.
No, yeah, it happened, right? So when my wife and I got married my junior year, needed to make some extra money, right? We didn't have the NIL and all those things. I was making $1,100, and when I got married, they gave me an extra $100, so $1,200, but nothing extra after that if you had kids. So juggling between the summer workouts and installing Windows, Coach Witt being so, willing to let me work it, whether I get my workouts in the afternoon or in the morning. But anyways, there was a little tension there between, we need you here all the time when you can, but I would fit in the window installation or even cleaning the building on the weekends just to make a little extra cash.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And it just shows you the commitment you've had to this company. I mean, this is in your blood.
No, without a doubt. I mean, my dad started this about 4 decades ago to where it is now, to, have the opportunity to be a part of something so amazing along with Jake. Like, I couldn't dream of a better situation, but to continue the legacy, everything he's worked so hard for, myself, being in that building now in a much bigger role in the capacity of trying to grow the company. I mean, it's just exciting. It's exciting to take that same energy and focus and put it into this and be able to transform people's homes, making it more energy efficient, and just having happy folks out in the community is what we're about.
$3,000 off, Jake.
That's right, $3,000 off. If you call today, you got to call today to unlock those savings, that additional $500 off what's normally offered. But call that. The number to call is 801-850-9100. Again, 801-850-9100. And you're going to get hold of Jeremy. And look, what we do is different from a lot of other companies. We don't put that high pressure sell on where it's like, or where we're at your house for 2.5 hours, this long presentation. It's a very casual, comfortable thing for a homeowner. We'll come in and Jeremy will just become familiar with you, what your needs are, what you're feeling in your house. He'll then do that audit of your windows and look at each of them and point out if there are any issues that you might have and give you reason as to why you may need to replace your windows. Maybe you don't need to. We're going to be honest about it. And then at the end, you're going to have the price to replace your windows, including that $3,000 discount. You'll have all of your financing options, what that monthly payment would look like, and you're going to have an idea if you want to get windows that qualify for rebates, you'd have an idea of what that rebate would look like. And at 45 minutes to an hour, you're going to have all that information, no pressure. You'll be well educated, and then you can then make that decision if it's time for you to replace your windows or not. What we want to do is leave a positive taste in the mouth of homeowners where they call us when they need windows. We just want to educate everyone out there. And then knowing that, hey, we have the best product in the market, the best value. You can't beat it with a lifetime warranty. And so give us a call for those window needs.
All that information that quick.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Companies don't do that. Contractors don't do that. They people like to go back to the office and how much can we squeeze out of them?
Yeah. This guy seemed desperate. Let's do it.
Well, he had 3 other estimates, but I think we could get this. It's no, we know what our windows are. We know what we make them for. Exactly, we know what they cost. We know what size you need. Here's your estimate.
Yep.
And I love that about you guys.
801-850-9100. Call right now. You're going to talk to Jeremy. You're going to say, hey, Jeremy, Jake said I get $3,000 off. 801-850-9100. It's that simple. Advanced Windows right here on The Zone.
The wheel is loaded, and it's time to talk some sports. This is Sports Roulette with Hans and Scotty on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hans Olsen, Scott Gerard, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. May 12th, it is the NBA Draft Lottery. That's when the Utah Jazz will find out if they get Cooper Flagg. You have a couple weeks to try to create some good karma for the Jazz. We need to create all the goodwill we possibly can with the basketball gods for those lottery balls to come up the way for the Utah Jazz. How do we do that? Well, all you have to do is go to KSLSports.com. That's KSLSports.com. Look for the 2-for-1 button. Click on that. And all we're asking you to do is donate $2 to Primary Children's Hospital. That's it. And you can do it right there on the website. Everything's secure, and it's just a simple $2 donation. Number 2 for number 1. So you donate $2. Hopefully that creates a little goodwill, and the Jazz can secure the number 1 pick. Now, if you want to go more than $2, I just saw somebody donated $22. That would be great too.
Yeah.
But all we're asking for is a simple $2 donation.
And it all goes to a great cause.
Goes to a great cause, and hopefully it means the Jazz have a little good karma going their way.
Scotty, what do I got to do to get you out to the ballpark with me?
It's going to happen.
I need you to get out to the ballpark with me.
Yes. I fully anticipate when things slow down with the misses and
because graduation,
my kids and we had graduation
practices.
I've got another kid who's graduating.
Yeah,
but I fully anticipate spending a good chunk of time out there at America First Field.
Lloyd, have you been out there yet?
I haven't. It's on my to-do list. This is only their second homestand.
This is.
Yeah.
You're going out there tonight, right?
I am.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm
Good
going
night.
out there.
It's like a high of 70. Perfect.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I'm just telling you guys, there's something about it. I was just at a high school baseball game yesterday. Like now, I'm out there watching Dawson, and Dawson Brown is one of the best baseball prospects in the state of Utah, and there's a couple of other prospects on that Lehigh team, and they're going against good teams. But I'm headed out to high school baseball. That means I need the smack. Like
Appreciate it.
You're getting the shakes over here.
I'm getting the shakes, and
Boston isn't getting here soon enough.
those Bees games are a real fix. Like it's, I'm headed out to Fenway
In May, right?
in May.
Yeah.
So gonna go get that major league fix. But yeah, that Bees fix is good, man. I'm gonna get out there tonight. We need to all get out.
Did you ever see that old Chris Rock movie where he's a smackhead? Oh man,
No.
I'll send it to you.
No, but I've always
it's
loved
what you sound like.
I've always loved the term smack.
Yeah.
It's
Gotta get that.
it's an old 80s, 90s term.
Gotta get that in me. Oh, you're like that Dave Chappelle when he's a character that's hooked on cocaine.
Is that who you're talking about, Lloyd?
No, that's different.
No, this is a different. Ice-T was in this movie, and he was apparently a smackhead turned. Oh, New Jack City.
New Jack City. Good
New
pull.
Jack City
Yep.
is what it was.
No, I've never seen it.
I think Wesley Snipes was in it.
Yep. Yeah, that was a Spike Lee flick.
Yeah. But he was a big-time smackhead.
All right, let's get to it. Fire up that old wheel.
Another transfer leaving BYU.
Joshua Singh, defensive tackle.
Wow.
If he wasn't slated as a starter,
Nephew of VJ Singh.
sources.
Why is that making me laugh?
I don't know. I have no idea. Sources, Lloyd.
I didn't see that one coming.
I want to know your sources.
You got me on that one.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
I don't know where to go. I don't know where to go.
I got nowhere else to
You've
go.
left me speechless. I'm actually speechless because I can't believe Joshua Singh is actually leaving BYU. That's crazy to me.
That's a poach.
At the very minimum, he was probably going to get himself 30 snaps,
Yeah.
but more likely than not, starting minutes. And he's now entered into the portal. And I'm seeing something as a first. How about this tweet? He just tweeted out a few clips from Spring Ball 2025.
Wow.
And-
so he has access to the spring ball film?
Posted Spring Ball film.
Okay. Let me ask you this. I think a lot of times, I've heard this from coaches, if you've been asked to go, they will provide you with all the film you possibly could use. So is this there's no way they asked him to go.
No way.
Did they?
No, they need it. They need all the interior that they can get. Now I do know of a few that have been sent packing, and I know them by name.
But this one is not that situation.
No. So you got John Talmapinu, who's going to be good. You got Keanu Tanavasa, who's going to be good.
By the way, his spring film's good. Like, he was causing some damage here.
Yeah, Josh was very good. He had a great spring. You got Luke Tumalatai, who will be good. They're expecting something from Anisi Purcell. But Joshua Singh was like in the real rotation. If they did tell him to go, and that's how he's got spring film, then I'm just color me shocked. I don't know, because it was a great spring.
Yeah, I saw your tweet that you it's one you quote tweeted and it had video to it, right?
No, I don't think so.
No? Oh, okay.
No, but if you just click on his link, you can go watch his spring, and his spring film is really good.
Yeah,
he's very shifty. He's undersized. There's no question. He's not a 3rd and 1 back, but he is a 3rd and 4, 3rd and 6. He's a 2nd and 8. He's a 1st and 10.
definitely a 3rd and 12.
He's a 3rd and 12 for sure.
Yeah,
because he's great with his hands. It just kind of caught me off guard.
All right, spin.
Rudy isn't number 1 bum anymore.
Number 1 bum. Everybody hated Rudy Gobert. He's number 2 bum now.
Yeah.
I hate this league's most overrated player.
Yeah.
And I hate the fact that it's done anonymously, and so does Rick Carlisle.
He's hot.
Yeah, he went nuts because Tyrese Haliburton came in number 1. Most overrated player in the NBA, according to his peers. And Rick Carlisle was like, show me the faces of these guys. This is BS. I want to know who's voting.
Because he has to, because it's his guy. I mean, deep down, he'd be like, yeah, he's pretty overrated. But you can't. You got to stand up for your guy.
Well, and then he goes, did you see who else is on the list? Jimmy Butler and Giannis. You're going to tell me they're bums? He was... The fake Jim Carrey was just livid. Just livid.
Yeah, I don't like that at all. I think Haliburton's a hell of a player for sure. I guess somebody's got to earn it, but
Rudy Gobert came in 2nd. Trae Young 3rd.
Yeah, I don't hate that one.
Jimmy Butler 4th. Bradley Beal 5th. Draymond Green 6th.
See, Draymond would be mine every game, every year.
Ja Morant 7th.
He'll shoot his way to number 1 here pretty soon.
He's gunning for it. Julius Randle.
Go ahead,
8th.
keep going.
No. Joel Embiid 9th and Giannis 10th. That is your top 10.
All right, 2:49. We'll wrap up this bad boy next. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
You're locked on to Hans Olsen and Scotty Chick. That's right. Yeah! On 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hans and Scotty, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Hey, Nate, would you draft Shedeur Sanders?
No.
There we go.
I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Obviously playing football for so long from afar. And I don't know the kid, never met him, but there's enough out there to where, to me, it's just red flags, right? Whether it's personality, whether it's leadership, whether it's a respect thing, and then just even his play alone just makes you question a lot of things.
What about Jackson Dart?
I like his game.
Yeah.
And granted, he's from here, so
I know.
Got to show him some love. But
and he's homegrown.
And he's homegrown, but he's just got poise in the pocket. He's just got good leadership and just, again, cool level head where somebody is going to be coachable, and that itself goes a long ways.
How hard would it be knowing the league to play both ways, like
hard.
A Travis Hunter?
Hard. Very hard. And the fact, his list of demands is almost alarming, right? And he's got 18, 17 mil waiting for him, I guess, if he doesn't play, whatever that means. But it's not for the faint heart. It's not easy. Again, it's one thing to do in college, but at the highest level.
The word impossible comes to my mind.
It comes to mind too. But, there's a very select few. But even then, you can't, in today's game,
modern.
You can't do that.
And I think a lot of it's just the mental side of it.
For sure. And then a few reps here and there. But at the end of the day, I'll never forget my first year in the league. It's it was very obvious. You had spring ball, but then you going into that first training camp, where reality of the NFL set in. Like, you're a rookie coming in. Yes, you're drafted. Congratulations. But also understand, like, you're here to take someone else's job and put them on the streets, therefore putting their family on the streets, and they're going to go hungry, right? Like, you're playing with grown men and their money and their families. And so when you're trying to go both ways, you're putting somebody out of a job, and it's not going to sit well with a lot of people.
I'm telling you, what a crazy thing, man.
Yeah.
The draft and the incoming classes and the outgoing classes, and the NFL is not for the faint of heart. It is not for the faint of heart. I just remember getting there and thinking, so this is what I fought my whole life for, huh? Wow.
To me, it's
Great
just
job,
like,
Hans.
And you'll never see this in any other industry. Can you imagine, folks up in the 7th or 8th floor, whatever it is, bringing people in to interview, and they're sitting in the room where Lloyd is, and they're interviewing them in front of you to potentially replace you, right?
Yeah,
That's just how the NFL is. They'll bring in guys, as you know, bring in a flood of 10 guys in multiple position groups, maybe 10 guys in one position group, and that's your position group. And they're all working out for 30 minutes in the indoor with the GM and coach and position coach to possibly replace somebody in your position.
This is every week.
It's every
This
week.
isn't just like a once a year.
week.
It's every single week that's happening.
That was horrifying.
By the way, you're giving Lloyd ideas in there, too. Like, it's not a bad idea, actually.
I like that.
Well, and Nate's talking about, these guys are playing for their families. And I remember coming in, and there were like 5 or 6 defensive tackles they had to cut for me to even make the roster. And I was undrafted. And I remember sitting there looking at these guys like, oh, geez, he's been here for 3 years. He's a 5-year vet. They've all got tape, and they've got their families' names written across their arms. Mm-hmm. And you're just like, these guys are for real. But then you're like, I don't have anything to fall back on.
Yeah.
I was hungry. I needed the money.
Right.
I had a family. I was married. And it's like, all right, let's go to battle.
Yeah.
And nobody's real helpful.
Exactly. Well, in this football, and that's life, and that's what I love so much about this game is it teaches you so many life lessons. And not to backtrack or go down on a ramp here, but that's where the unfortunate thing with the portal and the NIL is you're teaching these young men at such a young age to just, cop out just the easy way. Let me jump in the portal. Oh, they're not giving me my money, or I'm not getting my way here. And then you get to the NFL, it's a different reality. But then what about after, right? What about the game of life when you're done? And so you've gone through these things where you probably went to 5 different colleges and how many different visits, and you made all this money, but you still got the rest of your life ahead of you.
Oh, by the way,
crazy.
maybe 3 different high schools.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, ending at Corner Canyon. Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah.
Or Skyridge.
That's just saying.
Hey, Advanced Windows, it's been part of your DNA, your blood for so long, and just some remarkable opportunities for people to be with a company that's local. It's going to give them the best price, manufactured here, installed 8 weeks or less, and you're going to treat people right. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, and it doesn't get better than that. And now is the time to call. Like, please, if you have the thought of windows or had somebody come and give you a quote, please give us the opportunity to earn your business. Call us now. Allow us to come out, unlock those $3,000 in savings. But, call before the end of the show to get this amazing deal. This is something we are excited about and just really want the chance to transform your home. But, just give us that opportunity to come out.
And look, that $3,000, that's the biggest sale we do all year. So call today. Just unlock those savings. And you don't need to buy. That's the reality. It's like just unlock the $3,000 in savings and have Jeremy come out to your house and educate you. And then you have those, like, we're going to respect that in 6 months from now. You're going to get the price at the end of the day, and call us in 6 months, and that's the price you're going to get.
I just don't want to get past the fact, and I want to make sure that this is cemented in everybody's mind. This is the best window on the market. It's the number 1 rated. It is the best window on the market. So you're getting discounts on the best window that's made specifically for your house here in the state. And I don't want people to forget that. Top-end window. All you got to do is call.
Advanced Windows.
Keep preaching.
Let's do it.
Keep going.
It is the best. Advanced Windows. Call right now. Call Jeremy. He's going to give you $3,000 off. 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100. JJ and Alex coming up next.